NBA, the National Basketball Association in the United States of America. The association represents the higher standard in the basketball world. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and of course, many international players such as Dirk Nowitzki from Germany and Yao Ming from China. The NBA aims to deliver excitement to hundreds of millions of fans around the world. However, one political tweet has completely shut the door for the NBA to the Chinese market. On October 4, 2019, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, Daryl Morey, posted a tweet supporting the pro-democracy protest in Hong Kong and quickly deleted afterwards. This one single tweet has received a lot of criticisms from the Chinese fans, sponsors, and commercial partners. They demanded an apology from the Houston Rockets and asked the league to fire Daryl Morey. Before we go further, let us look at what Daryl Morey is doing here. Traditional managerial wisdom suggests that companies should keep their political views private. However, we can clearly see Mr. Morey as one of the most important stakeholders in the NBA was involved in corporate political activism. So, what is corporate political activism? CPA is the expression by the corporation or its representatives of a stance on some matter of current social or political debate, such as the LGBT rights, as well as the most recent Black Lives Matter movement, with the primary aims of visibly weighing in on issue and influencing opinions in the advocated direction. Daryl Morey's tweet regarding the Hong Kong protesters is corporate political activism because it was made by the representatives of the organization and stood for a certain side on the issue. There are other kinds of CPA, such as lobbying, political gift-giving, and communication by companies' representatives. CPA is strictly the act of speaking out to express their stance, involving little or no out-of-pocket cost. What are the motivations of corporate political activism? Generally speaking, there are two motivations of representatives engaging in CPA. First is as a way to shine a light on their positions, and second is towards issues that squarely affect a firm's prosperity, such as when a steel company's manager speaks out about their trade policies. Daryl Morey's statement clearly belongs to the first situation. So, how did the NBA handle this crisis? The NBA released two statements, one in English on its home website and one in Chinese on Weibo, which is the Chinese version of Twitter. There were apparent discrepancies between two statements issued by the same company. The one in English is a soft apology to Chinese fans and focus on the value of the league, which includes the sentences like, "The values of the league support individuals educating themselves and sharing their views on matters important to them." On the other hand, the statement in Chinese posted on the Chinese social media platform delivered a completely different message. "We feel greatly disappointed as Houston Rockets GM Daryl Morey's inappropriate speech, which is regrettable." Without a doubt, the statement in Chinese sounds like a strong rebuke of Morey's tweet. Why is there such a discrepancy? There are generally two types of corporations, market-driven and value-driven. Market-driven companies usually listen to customers and evaluate customer desires. They adapt their environment in pursuit of performance. In contrast, value-driven companies are willing to sacrifice performance if it means behaving consistently with their stated values. The NBA clearly did not want to lose the market in China. In the 2018-2019 season, 800 million people in China watched NBA programming on TV, digital media, or smartphones, which is nearly 2.5 times the entire population of the US. the message they try to deliver to the Chinese market demonstrates that they care about the Chinese market and attempted to do damage control. Therefore, they acted like a market-driven company. On the other hand, it is obvious that they acted like a value-driven company, since the statement indicates that every stakeholder has the freedom to talk about their opinions. Such discrepancies have disappointed many people both in the US and China. In the US, many lawmakers came out in support of Mori and criticized the NBA for distancing themselves from the league manager, as well as the discrepancies between two statements. Many fans in the US also asked the NBA to defend Mori's tweet. Under the pressure from the domestic media and the Chinese market, Adam Silver, the CEO of the NBA, finally made a statement in response to Mori's political stand during a conference.
The long-held values of the NBA are to support freedom of expression, and certainly freedom of expression by members of the NBA community. And in this case, Daryl Morey, as the general manager of the Houston Rockets, enjoys that right as one of our employees.
Shortly thereafter, numerous Chinese companies have decided to suspend their business deals with the NBA. The government also canceled NBA broadcast on Chinese state TV. As of recently, the Chinese officials have announced that they will not broadcast any NBA-related content for the next season as well. As a consequence, this one tweet has led to irreversible damage to the relationship between one company and one country. What are the possible consequences of corporate political activism? People always assign themselves and others into categories on the basis of shared values and actions. Customers are attracted by the brands they believe most closely align with their own personalities and values. Political ideologies play an important role in customers' value and associated brand preferences. When customers have explicit preference on a given issue, corporate political activism would lead to that either the most customers are energized by such a stand if their values align with the CEO's position, or they turn off if their own values run counter to the CEO's position, and that their loyalty to the brand will change accordingly for a long time. As an organization with international impact, the NBA faces stakeholder groups with contrary ideology skew. While the American stakeholders keep standing for freedom of speech, the Chinese stakeholders believe any speech challenging a country's national sovereignty and social stability is not within the scope of freedom of speech. Daryl Morey's announcement aligned with the ideology skew in the American market and therefore received supporters. However, it violated the universal value in the Chinese market and triggered even larger criticism. The representatives of the NBA denied Daryl's stand to deal with the criticisms in China, setting the organization against the ideology skew in the American market. The CEO of the NBA ultimately ended a conflict within the organizations and stood by Daryl Morey, bringing about the shutdown of the NBA's Chinese market. It is easy for companies like the NBA to stay true to their values in their home communities, where people tend to be like-minded. However, as they expanded internationally and enter the market like China, where their values are less well aligned, the NBA needs to understand the market environment as well as what people value there. The NBA has been trying very hard to appease its Chinese fans, which represents a huge market, while staying true to its ideology and value of the freedom of expression. It is unclear whether they can achieve both goals. The upper management of a company should be careful of taking a political position that they are not prepared to stand up for or are not prepared to bear the consequences. Since it's such a complicated topic, we have an open question for our audience. Should companies act like politicians? And how would you face this dilemma if you were the CEO of the NBA?